Good evening, this is Chris Clayton, and I'm here to talk about the education of women in Pakistan, where it was to where it is going. Women's education in Pakistan, many families want their children to go to school but face many obstacles to do so. 1 in 5 girls get married before the age of 18. Girls that attend school at an early age are less likely to get married before the age of 18, and over 3 million girls in Pakistan do not attend primary schools. That is incredible. The cost of education is outrageous for kids to go to school. Rural area families can't afford to pay for kids to go to school. 30 years ago, the Convention of the Rights of the Child outlined children's rights to a quality education in communities like Farhas. However, that right is far from universal. Males are given priority over females due to their being able to work outside of the home. Additional education barriers for young girls and women: poor quality of education, no enforcement of compulsory education, the lack of investment. Government needs to put more spending towards education instead of other places, specifically instead of in their military, which 60 to 70% goes to the military spending. Poverty, corruption in many different forms, both in and outside of the government, social norms, insecurities of girls, fear of armed and targeted attacks, the male versus female gender bias. In Pakistan, the preference for boys over girls is deeply culturally embedded from birth. Many women experience gender disadvantages, less access to scarce resources, poorer health care, higher child mortality, limited education, and less employment outside of the home, and circumscribed autonomy. Even when kids are sick, they give preference to the boys, as they bring greater value to the family with the ability to venture outside the home. The level of education was therefore an indicator of socioeconomic status and gender disadvantage. Positive marital satisfaction, negative marital satisfaction, socioeconomic status, and gender disadvantage were all assumed to be correlated with each other. More education equals more opportunity. A major finding is that participation in higher education enables women to impact on a number of discriminatory practices simultaneously and thereby affect change for the better. Better education is also linked to economic growth, improved income equality, and appears to be closely associated with social enrichment and inclusion. Continued educational improvement, future educational strategies be developed with the aim of further promoting gender equality in all areas of education in Pakistan, both particularly with the aim of increasing female students' participation in higher education as well as in elementary schools. There are also needs to be individualized plans for each area. This is needed as the needs for each area are different, with the incomes of families being extremely different from one area to another. This must be looked at and further developed. And they are working on this with the international community to build the education platform, as well as getting funds to build more schools, make education more accessible to younger children. Pakistan must work to end the corruption in the government and use those government funds to aid women in getting better education. With more education comes better equality between men and women. Also getting rid of the social norms of only the men can work outside the home. Children are the future. With 75% of the population in Pakistan being under the age of 21, it is critical for the growth and economic growth of Pakistan to focus on the children and get education to those that need it the most, the children. Malala has done great works and strides to help the progress in women's education and furthering it by continuing to put platforms forward within her foundation as well as outside of her foundation for the Pakistani women and children. Her foundation has put forth millions and millions of dollars towards the education of women. And I thank you for listening. Here's a brief bibliography of the different sightings I had used. Thank you again